Good morning, everyone. Good Monday morning. It is November the 14th, and welcome to this Intuitive Butterflies weekly reading. For those of you who are new here, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just quickly run through exactly how this works so that anyone who's new to the channel can make an informed decision. So every Monday I jump on here and I record a video, including 3 card readings from 3 separate decks. And the way that I ask you to choose which deck you are drawn to is to go into a very light meditation. And then I will present 3 rocks, gems, trinkets, something. And I ask you to see which one you are intuitively drawn towards. And whichever one you are intuitively drawn towards will be the deck that I will select your cards from. And I select 2 cards, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on if some cards jump out, but typically it's 2 cards from the decks. And this gives you an overall energy reading for the week, as well as a shadow energy for the week, something that might be brewing or bubbling just below the surface, something that you need to be made aware of that is kind of being a little bit hidden from you. Okay, so in a moment, I will be presenting the 3 stones for this week, or gems or trinkets. And first of all, I'm going to start out, as I always do, by lighting a candle. And as I light the candle, I call in the energy of the divine goddess and creator, the energy of Mother Earth, the energy of the angels, spirits, and ancestors, the animals. Please join me here and help me and guide me. Thank you. I call in the 4 directions, the north, the south, the east, and the west. And I call in the energy of the earth, the air, the water, the fire, and the spirit. And I give thanks. All right. Now, as can happen with many psychics, as we tap into energies that are not necessarily earthbound, we have a tendency to affect sometimes the electronics that we're attempting to use to be able to come to you in this modern day. And so I always smudge my camera and my computer when I start, and I smudge each of the 3 decks. And what a smudge is using smoke of one of the sacred plants. There are many plants that can be used. There's also copal that can be used, incense. And the belief is that the smoke helps to take away energies or entities that may be interfering with the work that you are trying to do. Okay. Take a couple of deep breaths, and I'm going to present the 3 stones, trinkets, gems for this week. So allow me to present all 3 stones first, and then make your choice as to which one you are intuitively drawn towards. Okay. So the first one this week is a little Orgonite. Mine is not a pyramid, but it still works at pulling some negative energies out of the air. Okay. So if you are drawn towards this little Orgonite, then cards for you will be pulled from deck number 1. Okay. Second is Lapis Lazuli. And this is my Lapis Lazuli ball. So if you're drawn towards this stone, I'll be pulling cards from deck number 2 for you. And finally, the Herkimer diamond has come out to play again. For my regulars, you've seen this before. So if you are drawn towards the Herkimer diamond, then I'll be pulling cards from deck number 3 for you. Okay, so make your choice now. If you are drawn towards the Orgonite, the Lapis Lazuli, or the Herkimer diamond. And let's get started. All right, so just have to shuffle and shift things around here. My desk is not very big, unfortunately. All right. So for those of you who are drawn towards the Orgonite, I'll be pulling cards for you this week from Diana Cooper's Archangel Animal deck. Let's get started. All right. Archangel Animal deck, we need one card. Whoa, I don't know if you can see that, but that card almost folded itself right in half. So that's going to be your dominant energy this week. Those of you that selected this Orgonite and you got the kangaroo. Oh, my card is so bent now. You got the kangaroo. Be a force for good. Okay. So it's interesting. I do have a Facebook page, Intuitive Butterfly Facebook page, and I pull a card of the day 6 days a week. The only day of the week that I do not pull a card is on Mondays because I do this full video. And it's interesting that out of this entire deck, kangaroo came up within the last week or 10 days, which is highly unusual. Okay, so what does this mean for you this week? What is your dominant energy? Well, the dominant energy is to be a force for good. But the other important message that comes up when kangaroo jumps into our life is that the kangaroo has really, really powerful legs. And when we come across an animal with really, really powerful legs, it's an indication that it is time for us to walk away from that which no longer serves our highest good. Or in the case of the kangaroo, to jump away from that which no longer serves you. Okay, so this week you're being called to be a force for good. But if you're finding that what is being drawn into you this week, energies that are being drawn into you, if they don't resonate with you, if you're thinking that getting involved with those energies could lead you down a path that you're not 100% comfortable with, then also use the energy of the power of the legs of the kangaroo to walk away or bounce away from that and just be like, this is not working for me. That's essentially the message of the kangaroo. The other message that comes up for the kangaroo, when the kangaroo comes into our lives, is the kangaroo, in order as a species to be able to continue, has to be very, very nurturing. When the baby kangaroos are born, the little joeys are born, they are itty bitty little tiny things that end up going into the pouch. And they require so much love and nurturing in order to be able to grow up into a full kangaroo. And so the kangaroo also has the message for us to be more nurturing, to have more of that motherly nurturing instinct. So these are your dominant themes this week. Those of you that selected the Orgonite, your dominant themes this week: walk away from that which no longer serves your highest good. Jump away from it, bounce away from it, use your legs, get out of there if it's not serving your highest good. Be a force for good and bring in that motherly nurturing energy. Okay, so now we're going to look at the card that is on the bottom, which is your shadow energy. And your shadow energy this week is the snake. Live according to your divine essence. Okay, So when a snake comes up in psychic readings, in dreams, in oracle cards, when a snake comes up, some of the traditional tarot decks also have a snake represented on some of the cards. The snake is asking us to let go of the past, shed our old skin. Okay, so the fact that the snake came up for you in the shadow position, you know, you've got this card indicating you should walk away from that which no longer serves your highest good, is your dominant energy this week. And the fact that you have a snake in your shadow position is an indication that perhaps you're not listening to your intuition. Perhaps there is something in your life, some kind of energy right now that keeps pulling you back in. We as humans like comfort. We like our comfort zones. Excuse me. Even when our comfort zone no longer serves our highest good, we continue to go back to it because it's comfortable. We resist change. Okay. And so I'm getting the sense that given that you have a dominant card telling you to walk away, and you have the snake card in the shadow position telling you to shed your old skin, it's an indication that for those of you that selected deck number 1 in this Orgonite, that there is something, you're stuck in your comfort zone, you're not willing to walk away. You know you should. You know that it is no longer serving you to be in that place, whether that be in a relationship, whether that be something that's going on with your family and something within the family dynamics, whether that be a job that you're in, whether it be the house that you're living in or the home that you're living in, and it's time to move on from that. If you are currently kind of feeling stuck, the energies this week are telling you to kind of get moving. Okay. The energies this week are telling you, use your legs, get up, bounce away. And, you know, what's being hidden from you is your lack of ability to shed the old skin. Okay. So for those of you that selected this one, those are your energies this week. I hope that they resonated with you. Please leave a comment. I would love to have the feedback and let me know. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to those of you that selected the Lapis Lazuli ball this week. So for those of you that selected the Lapis Lazuli ball, I will be pulling cards for you from the Osho Zen Tarot. All right. So for those that had deck number 2 in the Lapis Lazuli ball, what is the dominant energy this week? Whoa, we've got cards coming out everywhere. Oh, interesting. I have to tell you, I am getting repeating cards. If you watched the card pull for deck number 1 this week, you'll know that the kangaroo has come out more than once within the last 10 days or so. And this card has come out, I believe this is the 4th time in 5 days that this card has come out of this deck. The chances of that happening are, you know, 1 in, I don't even know how many. But the card is Rebirth. This is the 10 of Swords. It corresponds to the 10 of Swords in the traditional deck, traditional tarot deck. So what does this card mean for those of you that selected this Lapis Lazuli ball? What is your dominant energy this week? Your dominant energy this week is very similar to the energy of deck number 1 that I just read for. And that is, leave the past behind. Begin to rebirth yourself. There is something that is not serving your highest good. And you'll notice here, if you look closely at the colors, so across the bottom here, you do have a camel, okay? And it's kind of dark and gray. And then you kind of rebirth into a bit of a lion here. And this comes up into a small boy playing a flute. And this is really talking about kind of evolving and recreating ourselves, rebirthing ourselves over time. And you'll notice the change in colors, right? Like there's more of an alive, light feeling up here than there is down here on the card. So this card is indicating that right now is the time when we need to leave the past behind, leave that which no longer serves us in the past. I'm just going to pull this out really quickly. Dread of failures causes us to be stuck and not move forward. Right now is a time for growth and change. Okay. So I don't normally read from the little books that come along with it, but every once in a while, in order to just kind of drive home the message of the card, I like to pull out the little cards or the little book and read from it, right? So this card is calling upon those of you that selected the little ball this week. It's time for you to really think about what you want to be, where you want to be, and get really, really clear on that. The 10 of Swords sometimes can be construed as a negative card, a card that doesn't always serve people's highest good. But having said that, it can also be construed as being a positive card in the sense that you're at a turning point, right? This is a time of opportunity to be able to rebirth yourself. And what can happen is if we don't follow this guidance to rebirth ourselves and to really get clear on who we are and what we want to be, what we're putting out into the world, we can go into a place of self-pity or almost a place of martyrdom. And that's really not a place that we want to be going. Okay. So for those of you that have this card this week, really get clear. What is it that you want to create? Rebirth yourself this week. Let's look at your shadow energy, which is the bottom card. Interesting that you got. Okay, so this was the top card, which is the 10 of Swords. You got the 9 of Swords as well. This card represents sorrow, and this card is a card of, it's in the shadow position. And so what this is saying is that if you are not doing this work and getting really clear on where you want to be in your life and rebirthing yourself into something new, something more colorful, something more light and energetic, then you may find yourself in a place of sorrow. Okay. So this is the shadow energy that's working below the surface this week. This is the energy that is bubbling and brewing below the surface if you're not doing this work this week. Okay. Now, that's not to say that you are actually going into a place of sorrow, right? We have free will. That's the important thing to remember. We have free will. And so what the cards are doing, when a card comes up that can be interpreted or construed as a negative, we as humans with our free will have the opportunity to be able to change that energy. So work towards your clear picture, work towards rebirthing yourself, and you can actually avoid this sorrow that's bubbling and brewing below the surface. Okay. So thank you to those of you who selected deck number 2. And let's move on to those of you who selected the Herkimer diamond this week. I will be pulling cards for you from the Kyle Gray Angels and Ancestors deck. So let's get started. All right, Angels and Ancestors, we need one card to help guide and show us the dominant energy for those who selected the Herkimer diamond this week. Okay, there we go. So I don't know if you can see, we have this card that is turned sideways. It's just a single card in the middle of the deck. Ooh, okay. So for those of you that used the timestamps and just skipped right straight through to deck number 3, you might want to go back and watch the card pull from deck number 1 and deck number 2, because there's an overall theme going on here this week. Autumn, release the old and rest. This is your card this week and your dominant energy this week. Okay. It's interesting that we are, in fact, in the autumn right now. We have not started winter officially, although Mother Nature in certain parts of North America is indicating that winter has begun. But in reality, on our calendar, the winter has not started and we are still in the autumn. And when we are in the autumn, we are in that time when it is time to release the old. Okay. You'll notice as well that in the autumn or in the fall, the trees release their leaves. They are letting go of that old energy that belonged to another season. The energy that belonged to the spring and summer. In the autumn, the trees let go of that energy. So just the same way that in the spring, during the spring equinox and into the summer, during the summer solstice, we are encouraged to plant seeds, both physically plant seeds for the purposes of growing food, but also we are encouraged to plant metaphysical seeds, seeds of what we would like to accomplish in our lives. And the autumn or the fall is the time when we look back to the spring and the summer and say, hey, we planted these seeds, what worked, what didn't work? And the fall or the autumn is the time when we let go of the seeds that didn't work. So, if our intention was to, grow a certain type of business, and every step of the way there was roadblocks being put up and we just could not accomplish what we had set out to accomplish, then clearly it wasn't meant to be. And so right now is the time to release that, right? Let go of the old and go into this rest mode. The autumn is the time when a lot of us begin to sit back. The harvest has been completed and we can explore the seeds that didn't work. We let go of that and we sit back. Now, that's not to say that we're resting on our laurels and we're not still doing work, but it is a time to step back from almost this frantic activity that has been going on during the spring and the summer and the initial part of the harvest. Okay, so that's your message. Your dominant energy this week is to let go of that which no longer serves you. And like I said, if you go right now and you watch the card pull for deck number 1 and the card pull for deck number 2, you're going to see that this is an overall global arching theme this week, to let go of that which no longer serves us. So let's have a look at what your shadow energy is, that which is bubbling below the surface and may not serve you. Right. Okay. The sun. Enjoy success and happiness. Okay. This is what's bubbling and brewing below the surface for you as the shadow card this week. And you're looking at this going, that doesn't make sense. Actually, it does make a lot of sense, because if you are in the process of holding on to that which no longer serves you. So let's say, for example, in the spring, you had decided you were going to open an ice cream shop. And come fall or autumn, you realize that you only managed to sell 16 ice cream cones this year, and financially, it's just not working out for you. Okay. If you're still holding on to that really, really tightly, and yet the universe has sent you a lot of messages, then your shadow is that you don't have the ability to be able to enjoy your successes right now. Okay. This is the shadow. This is what's being hidden from you if you are not heeding the dominant energy this week. So heed the dominant energy this week. Let go of that which no longer serves you. Begin to sit back and rest. You can actually begin to plot and plan your next project or adventure or venture, whatever the case may be. That's part of the rest. Okay. And when you are doing that work, then the happiness and the success will start to come back into your life. But if you're ignoring that work, then this is being shaded from you. Okay. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining me this week. I do want to let everyone know that this week only, I am involved with the Sovereign Healing Collection. This is a collection of 25 really, really gifted healers, mentors, coaches, health coaches, psychologists, you name it, we've got it. And right now, each one of the 25, including myself, have prepared an electronic offering for all of you. My offering is actually an introduction to intuitive decision making. It is a 1 hour and 15-minute long video. It includes 2 meditations. You can use these meditations over and over again to help you make the most important decisions of your life. Now, collectively, these 25 offerings, if they were offered individually, would be valued at $2,500 US. Right now, they are on sale for $77 US. So if you are interested in this collection, please check out my Intuitive Butterfly webpage or Intuitive Butterfly page on Facebook for more details, as well as the link to the collection. So thank you so much for joining me this week. Have a beautiful week. As the overall theme this week was let go of the past, let it go, take a couple of deep breaths and roll out forward this week. Thank you so much.